What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of What's Kevin Doing? So today, Kevin, me, will be working on my 2013 Infiniti JX35. We're going to be taking care of and replacing the transfer case control module having to do with the transmission on this car. And the reason I wanted to make this video was because when I was looking to find out where this actual unit is actually located, I couldn't find anything anywhere. Even on like the manufacturer's site, Infiniti site, it would give kind of like a general crappy picture. If you've ever bought auto parts, you know how it looks on their parts diagrams, and it never really looks right. And it just kind of points to, you know, the general area. It's like, oh, well, it's kind of here, it's kind of there, and it doesn't tell you specifically. So I end up doing a lot of research, and hopefully you can hear me okay because I'm wearing a microphone to try and help some of this wind noise come down. But I did a lot of research, talked to a lot of the guys, members, I should say, of the Facebook group for these cars, and was finally able to get it resolved as to where it might be, because you would see indications that would say, oh, it's here, or oh, it's here, or oh, it's in the back, which are all okay, but like there's a lot of different options, and we're going to open up this decklet here in a minute and, you know, show you why that's a little too general. But let me give you a little bit of information about this car. I've had it for about 8 years now. I've always taken really good care of it. You can see it's actually in really good shape for a car of its age. So we're pushing 11 years now. Here's the thing. It's got, hopefully you can see that, 212,000 miles on it. Like I said, I always take care of the oil changes. I do the transmission flushes myself, which are basically just drain and fills. Pretty simple job. I'll make a video about that one day. But the problem I'm having, and I'll flash a picture of what I've taken, is a light will come on that shows like the traction control has malfunctioned, and I'll feel the car jump, like it's almost like it downshifted, and it stays in that downshift mode. Now it's not that traction control button, because I've tried that, that's something separate, but it stays in that downshift mode, and then eventually this other light comes on that says malfunction, you know, and you know, ABS and all these other safety features, which kind of makes sense because they're sort of linked together. That light will come on. So what I simply have been doing is I just push this button, I make the malfunction button, you know, sign go away, but the other lights are on, and quite frankly the car drives fine like that. I mean, it drives, you can tell it's probably about 500 RPMs too high on what it should be, you know, under normal driving conditions, if that was not the case. But someone had suggested, well, maybe it's the wheel speed sensors, and I thought, okay, well, I had a guy come over here and run a bunch of tests, and you know, his big expensive tester thing, and I hate to say tester thing, but I just really don't know what it's called. But he tested it, wheel speed sensors were all fine. He came back with a code C1204, and so that has something to do with the transmission traction control thing. So the next step was, they said, hey, I had that same problem, and I replaced this control unit. So essentially that's what I did already once on this car, and it didn't work. Now the thing to keep in mind is that these parts are used parts, so they're used components, and they are known, they have a reputation of failing and not being correct. Infiniti did put out a service release bulletin, I think it's called, regarding that. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe, just maybe the first one that I got was bad, so I was willing to do another one. If that doesn't fix it, then the other option is to replace the differential in the front, because it's a front differential solenoid, and the only way to get to that solenoid is to replace the whole differential, which is about a $750 part, and about probably another $700 in labor for a mechanic to put it in. So not happening on this car. This car has a market value now of maybe $3,000, so I'm not putting another $1,500 into it, just to fix an error that I could drive perfectly fine with for the rest of the vehicle's life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it another try with replacing this transmission control unit module, or transfer case control unit module thing, whatever it's called. But I want to show you where it is, because I couldn't find any information as to where it's located. So let me share with you guys. So after doing a lot of research and trying to figure it out myself, here's what I came up with, and I was able to locate it before. Where it actually is, and yes, that's my strut here that's going bad, and you know, that's another $100 I got to put into the car, which I don't mind. But the actual control unit is in here. It's back underneath this thing. So in order to get to this, it's against this wall that's kind of like behind this bumper. To get to this, you got to kind of take all this stuff apart. So the last time I did that, I didn't really put all the screws and everything back in, because I'm like, well, let me ride it around after I replaced it, see if it did anything, see if it worked. And lo and behold, it did not. So let's make some room here, and I'm going to show you guys how to get in here, how to take it apart, how to change out the module. It's actually really easy. It's nothing to really stress about. I picked mine up used off of eBay. Sorry for all the terrible camera work, but I'm trying to be cameraman and host at the same time. But in any event, I picked mine up off of eBay for about 50 bucks, shipped here from wherever it was. Both of them got here within a couple of days, so it was no big deal. All right, so you can see there's like this panel here, container. I'm going to take all this stuff out, so just bear with me a second. Let me throw on my my harness for the camera, and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I'm back. I'm on the hands-free now, so hopefully this will be adjusted to where you can see it. But you can see, like in here, this is underneath here is where all the stuff is. So we got to pull this tray out, and we got to take this Bose system out, which is really not a big deal. So all we're going to do, let's take this stuff out first, is get this stuff out. And then I believe I can get this whole tray out of here. This little clip right here is going to come out. But then that's pretty much it. So let's see how I did this last time. I think I was able to just lift it all out. Let's give it a try. So I take this part, and no, I'm not cool with that. Let's just take everything and put it on the ground, and we'll do it nice and clean. I'm in one of those neighborhoods. Oh look, so here's the original one. So that's the one that was here. So if for any reason this one doesn't work, I'm going to put this one back in, because it's all the same anyway. So we'll put this over on this side, and then I'll just return the other one. So you see, I always keep a bunch of extra lights and fuses and all kinds of stuff in here. And look, man, you always got to keep a roll of toilet paper in your car. You just never know. So let's make this a nice clean pile. I'll probably just time lapse or speed this up so I have to see everything here. All the spare tire stuff. And once you get all this stuff out, it's actually a pretty easy process. Oh crap, there's some pliers in there. Okay. Okay, so the next step is, we need to take this out. So this is just for if you have a Bose system. Now keep in mind, this is a 2013 Infiniti JX35. This car went on to become the QX60, and for the years 2013 through, I think, just the new one, like the 24s, they're basically the same car. I mean, they changed a little bit of the interior styling, maybe a few of the lights on the outside, but other than that, the car hasn't really changed much at all. So don't worry too much about that. But here, let me show you something here. You see these screws here, and I think there's one underneath there. Don't worry about that. All that is the thing when you take it off, that's where you crank down with one of the tools to get the spare tire to drop, which I always just call AAA if that happens. I haven't had a flat tire in a long time, but let me fix this. But I'm not changing the spare tire, man. If I have AAA coming out, why not? Okay, so we see that we've got this loose. We lift that up. How I did last time was I just flipped it, and you'll see this little piece right here that connects it. If you can see that. If I remember correctly, I just sort of push this in. Let me see. Yeah, see there's like a little tab. There we go. So it was, okay, now I got it. We'll pretend like I did it the right way. So just push it down, right? That part right there, that tab, slides right out. Boom, subwoofer comes out. Easy peasy. All right, we're gonna put this in the shade. We don't want it ruined, so we'll put it the way that it goes in the car, like that. Okay. Now, here's what we're gonna do. This piece comes off, right? You see that piece right there? That comes off so that you can get the cord through for the subwoofer. You can see I left the other screws out from the last time because it obviously wanted to make sure it worked before I went and secured everything back in. Okay. And then there are screws that go here and screws that go there. That's for the cover. I didn't put those back on. I had a problem with one of the hinges, so I got to kind of retighten that. All right, let's see. And I think it all just kind of pops up. Yeah, it does. See, it all just pops up from here. Oh, that's right. Okay, so now you take this piece out of here, right? And that's where I got stuck before, and so that's why it's important. Like, oh, I can't get this damn thing out of here because this thing needs to come off, and I couldn't figure out how to get it off until I just used some good old-fashioned brute force and just was like, oh, everything in this car is literally just clipped together. You see that? It just clips in there. Like nothing is as like bolted down and solid as it looks. So that piece goes there. Then we can take out, now don't make me a liar. Oh, let me think. Well, if everything else is just popping in there, let's just try that. There we go. Just like everything else, it just pops out. Okay. There we go. We did it. And voila. Let me show you this here real quick. So if you look, there it is. It's how it's against this back thing here. So there's the control module, the control unit we're trying to get to. And on the other side, when I did some research, this one, hopefully that's not too close, is what controls a lot of the collision avoidance systems also. So all the stuff that comes on after this fails, if in fact that is defective. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take it off, and you can see here I believe it's just, I think it's two 10mm bolts. Everything in this car can pretty much be taken apart with. If you literally have a 10mm socket, you could take the whole car apart. So let me put this back on, and we'll get after getting that taken care of. Okay, so can you see it? There, it's good. So once you get into it, one is here. The other one, which is the control unit that we are working on, the transfer case control unit, is here. So let's get that out of there. Okay, so we got a 10mm socket here with an extension. It's going on there. And we're just going to take out these two bolts. It's literally the only thing holding this control unit in. So again, like I said, there is a service bolt-in, which this car is way too old at this point, which I don't even think that really means it's under warranty. It just knows, hey, we got this thing, and it's kind of has a tendency to mess up, which, you know, so if you find this error code to the service techs, this is one of the first things you want to check. On this car, I honestly, after replacing the first one and not having any success, I'm really doubting that it's this unit, because that differential has 200, like I said, 214,000 miles on it. So more than likely that's what it is. And that's fine. I mean, look, it's an old car. I accept I'm going to have those problems. I've had it since forever. So I don't, you know, blame Infiniti or anything on that. I never expected to actually get this many miles out of this car anyway. Alright, so I think, oh, here it is. I gotta pull this down, and like pulls right out. So did you see that? This tab, hopefully. I pushed that tab, pulled it out, and it came right out. And so there's the one that was sent by eBay, which say EB, probably for eBay. So this one's going back to the person I bought it from. And we're gonna go in the box and get the second one out, which I really hope you can see. This is one of the reasons I don't really like working with a GoPro, is because you can't see, like on this older ones, there's no screen to show you what you're shooting. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see all that. This is one of the reasons why I don't always like working with a GoPro that doesn't have a screen. This one is a GoPro 3 or something like that, so it's an older one. Okay, so this is the new one. Well, not new. I mean, they're pre-owned. I don't even think you can buy these things new anymore. You probably could. Actually, you know what? I think I did see them on Infiniti's website for like $800, something stupid like that. So these are pre-owned parts, came out of used cars. They claim that they test them, but I don't believe anything they say when they sell stuff on eBay or Amazon when they say they test them. So here's the thing. The odds of getting 2 of these that don't work are probably slim to none. So you can see here, it's the part number, 2013 JX35 transfer case, which is correct. And the transfer case in this car was replaced at about 100,000 miles or so. I can go back and look at my notes. But, you know, so if it lasts that long and it's failing, I mean, I don't know. Essentially, what is the Infiniti? Really, it's just a fancy Nissan, which Nissan's crap anyway. So anyway, just for the record, I don't know if I talked about it or not, but this car, in the 7.5 or 8 years that I've owned it, has been nothing but problems. I would never ever buy another Infiniti or Nissan product. I've been through, what, 3, it's on its 3rd transmission, which fortunately I was smart enough when I got, let me change the view a little bit so it's not so boring. I got an extended warranty on it, so at the time, which has since expired. And it's been through, I mean, just literally everything. A couple wheel bearings, cooler fans, 3 transmissions, a transfer case, a complete wiring harness, which is absolutely insane. A TCM, which is the transmission computer. The ECM, the engine control, which controls the whole car. Miscellaneous lights, fuses, sensors, cam position sensors, crank position sensors. One thing I will tell you though about owning this car is you will learn to work on cars and learn about cars unless you're willing to pay somebody a bunch of money to do it, which is not worth it. I think all in all, when I totaled it up one time, the warranty company put about $22,000 in repairs. I'm like, why don't you guys just total the car? And they wouldn't do it. So they just kept fixing it, and I just kept driving it. So anyway, here it is. We're going to put this in. Hopefully you can see it okay. This is the second one. Now we know if this one is no good, and that's the actual part number. So if you go on Infiniti, it's probably the same for the QX60s as well. Probably the Nissan Pathfinder as well. And we put this one in, and it does the same thing. Then we know at that point that it's the front differential for the all-wheel drive, and I ain't fixing that, man. That's, like I said, $1,500, worth about the same amount of the car. I can drive the car the way that it is. I lose a little bit in gas mileage, but it still drives perfectly fine. So not really worth the investment in fixing it. So that's it. So let's go ahead and do the reverse of what we did, right? So we're going to go here. We're going to plug this in. Click. Nice click. Good. We're going to put this here and here. We're going to get our bolts started. I think at this point, like, I'm literally not even going to put anything back in this car. I'm just going to hide all this crap in my garage and take it for a test drive and see what happens, because I did that last time and ended up having to take it back apart again, as you can see. And then if that's the case, I'll just return both of these parts to the original sellers on eBay, because I know that nothing's wrong with them, and hope that they will take them back and be understanding, which I'm pretty sure they will. So let's, again, 10mm socket, take the whole car apart with that. I need one of those cool ones, those ones that, like, the guy who shows up, I have a mobile mechanic who comes to my house, and he's got this really cool, like, cordless socket wrench thing, and he puts on, he's like, zzz, 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 and he gets these bolts out of here in like 2 seconds, and some of the stuff that takes me a while to get done, he's already completely done and finished with it. So, okay, so that's as far as we're going to go with it, and besides now the test drive. So I'm not going to put all this stuff back, we'll do that in a second when I get back, but I'm going to take it out for a test drive, see what happens, and let's see if that error clears. I know I got to drive about maybe a mile, maybe 2, before all that stuff starts to show up again. So we'll see what happens. All right, I'll be back. Okay, so here we go. We got everything packed away. Let's make sure it starts. Ooh, starts right up, which is nice because I just had the mechanic come out. Blah, blah, blah. I just had the mechanic come out weekend before last, maybe. Oh, I want you to be able to see this, because right here is where that light's going to come on and everything else will go berserk. And put a new starter in it. So that's not bad for a starter to last 212,000 miles, man. I'll take it. You know, like I said, it's a Nissan, so you got to kind of manage your expectations. But it's running fine. The check engine light, whole nother story. It's for sorry, I needed a drink there. It is for, I'll show you actually. Make sure everything's connected. I forget what that thing is called. See there? Yeah, here you go. 45 bucks. So that's not bad. I've got one of those scanners in the car, like inexpensive, but it still works. Got glasses on here. Oh, turn this back on. So that check engine light, every time I start the car up, and listen, I'm open to feedback on it. It's the same thing, and then I turn it off, car runs fine. Okay, so here you go. The car runs fine, and I drive it down the road, and nothing else ever comes on. So I'll show you what that's for. It's a P0075 intake valve control solenoid, circuit bank one. So we've replaced, I think, most of the intake valves. I think there's the problem with this one on bank one is it's buried like way underneath. So you've got to, honestly, you really need to put it up on the lift to have somebody try and fix that. It's working good, okay. Have somebody fix that without a lift. I mean, it'd be a pain in the ass. And honestly, it doesn't really do anything. So I just click on this, I click on clear the codes. I think I paid about 50 bucks for this thing at Amazon, and boom, check engine light's gone. So okay, you ready? I hope this camera's right. Let's go for a ride and see how we did. If this did anything. I'm really hoping that it did, because I actually enjoy driving this car. I've had it for so long, and I put so many miles on it. I think in 8 years, when I bought it 8 years ago, how nice and quiet it is. It's a pleasure to drive, it really is. It had 40,000 miles on it, so I've put a ton, but like 170,000 miles in 8 years, so it's a lot. I drive a lot, I get it. But that's why I do my maintenance. I do my oil changes constantly. I use semi-synthetic or full synthetic. I'll always throw some, you know, additive in there every once in a while. Every third or fourth oil change, I'll run a flush through different brands. You know, Motor Medic, that German one that's real expensive. I do that. And you know, I've replaced, oh yeah, well, part of it was like the intake manifolds and the gaskets and all that, spark plugs, ignition coils, all that stuff. Everything's brand new. And when the guy took the valve covers off, I said, send me pictures of the cams, and the cams look like brand new. So it's maintenance is the key. So that's the thing. So even if this continues to malfunction with this issue, I'm not really worried about it, because I know everything that's going on with this car, everything that's been replaced, everything's literally brand new, engine-wise, a lot of the sensors. So I think eventually what's going to just kill this car to the point where, you know, I just say, okay, that's it, we're done, thanks for the memories, is going to be something like a timing chain or something like that, you know. So that's what'll end up doing it. And even if it, as long as it runs, and if it runs a little rough, it runs fine, I'll keep it. I would rather go through all of that than deal with the freaking car dealers. And I don't buy new cars. I lease new cars, 2 of them for my daughters, because I want them to be safe. I don't really care anymore what I drive that much. When I was younger and single and didn't have kids, that's when I had all the nice cars and, you know, the boats and the jet skis and the motorcycles. Now, like, it doesn't really matter. You get older, you realize that money in the bank or money invested is way more satisfying and comforting than what sits in my driveway. You know, at the end of the day, I push the gas pedal, I turn the steering wheel, and they all do the same thing. So I remember once I had a brand new Lincoln Navigator, literally back then, which was a lot. Let me think, 2003, 2, something like that. And, you know, it was $60,000. Back then, that was a shit ton of money for a vehicle. And the payment on it was like $850 a month, somewhere around there. I've always had great credit and all that, so that's never been an issue. But I'm going to keep going this way. But I would look at it sometimes sitting in the driveway, and as beautiful as it was, and it was such a pleasure to drive, like driving a yacht, you know, I'd be like, this thing spends 90% of its life sitting in my driveway. Why am I paying almost $900 a month for this? With insurance, it was like $1,000 a month. I'm like, that's stupid. If I could take that same $1,000 and invest it over the course of, say it was, you know, a 5-year thing on the car, I could easily turn that into, you know, triple of what it was. So that didn't make a lot of sense. So that's why now I just kind of drive with it. No matter what you do in this car, it has that CVT transmission, which again, I said I'm on my 3rd one. It always feels sluggish. Even if I put this thing in sport mode and I try to go, the CVTs just are not the same. They're not going to drive the same. Maybe Honda and Toyota ones are better, but the Nissans, again, are just crap. It's just garbage, and you always feel like you have no power. So never buy another car with a CVT. Maybe a Honda with a CVT, because I think they probably have the technology worked out, but I don't really see the benefit. You know, I mean, even for a car this size, I think it's supposed to be gas mileage. So even this thing is running perfect, not having any issues with or any problems. Maybe 20 miles to the gallon, 21, which I guess is probably pretty good for a big heavy car like this. But I'm gonna jinx myself because, oh, there it goes, it went. See, it didn't matter. Dang it. See that light right there? Hopefully you can see that. That light came on, so we know that it's not that. I know that it's mechanical. Shit, that sucks. I know it's mechanical, and it's the part in the front, the differential part, the solenoid that's within the differential, which you can't get to without completely replacing the whole front differential anyway, because it's an internal component. I mean, I guess you could take the differential apart and replace the solenoid, but I don't even know if you can buy that solenoid as a separate part. But see, even now, like, this is as worse as it gets. My RPMs are maybe, see that, 500 more than they should be. So my gas mileage on average goes from about 21 down to 17. So eventually that may be enough strain on the motor or on the differential where it just fails something in the transfer case. and you can hear that tone that just came on. That will just cause the car to fail. So, you know, if someone came to me and said, hey, look, I'll give you $5 for the car, just walk away, I might take it. I don't know. But you see that light where here now where it says malfunction, see owner's manual? Like, obviously I don't want people seeing that when I have it in the car. So I just press this button. Hey. That used to clear it. Now it doesn't clear it. Oh, that sucks. Okay, so now it cleared it. See it? So that malfunction message is now gone. So anyway, I mean, see the RPMs, right? We're doing 45 miles an hour. RPMs are about 1700, 70,000, whatever it is. I can never figure that out. No big deal. I mean, the car still drives fine. It feels fine. It's just a bunch of lights on the dashboard, and I know exactly why they're there. And I don't really think that it's doing harm to the vehicle other than eating my gas mileage away. You know, one guy on one of the Facebook groups said, here, I'll give you some nice reviews of palm trees and stuff, said he drove around with his for like over a year before they finally got around to getting it fixed, but he didn't really notice a difference. But I would have liked it to have been fixed, but now I got to deal with sending all this stuff back. And sending it back through eBay is not quite as easy as sending it back through Amazon, but it's cool. I'll take care of it. I'll do the right thing. I'll make sure it's packed up securely, and those guys get it back. But now I know what it is. But I don't know. Maybe I'll get lucky. I'm always looking around stuff. I can find a used front differential, but see, then the problem with that is for something that labor intensive, you buy a used one, the only true way to tell if it really works properly is to install it. And like, you go through and you pay all those thousands of dollars in labor, hundreds rather, find out it doesn't work. Well, guess what? The mechanic doesn't care. It's not his fault. So here's my lake. Isn't it nice? So anyway, and then you just waste a bunch of money on labor on a part that doesn't work anyway. So, all right, well, I guess unfortunately, what's Kevin doing, fans? Oh yeah, like and subscribe. I'm a terrible YouTuber. I always forget to say that. Like and subscribe. I'm gonna go this way so this guy doesn't have to worry about me when he's a kid. I appreciate that. If there's something you'd like to see me do, like on this car, there's always something going on with the car. I used to like to do my drone stuff, but unfortunately I randomly crashed that into the ocean the other night trying to get the northern lights, which is kind of weird. But hey, I had insurance on it and State Farm reimbursed me almost $1,000, so I'm going to buy another better drone. So I like to do drone stuff. I love my e-bike stuff. I'm in South Florida, like in the Palm Beach County area. So if there's stuff you want to see around here, places to go, you know, let me know, man. I'm happy to make those videos for you. I enjoy it. It brings me a little bit of peace and satisfaction. But right now, I got to go put this car back together. But at least now I know. I know what it is. I've tried 2 different control units. Neither of them work. The chances of getting 2 bad ones are probably almost 0. So I'm completely satisfied with the results that, you know, I'm done with trying to solve that problem, because honestly, it's not really that big of a deal. It's not like the car shakes or makes loud noises or rattles or feels like it's going to explode or any of that kind of stuff. So it's not worth putting the money into it. If the car had 100,000, maybe I'd go for it, but other than that, I don't really think it's worth it. All right. Oh, before I forget here, let me take this seatbelt off. Let me show you my engine real quick. I can hear how quiet it sounds. Again, for 212,000 miles on it, this is what good maintenance will do. Oh, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to try one of those fluids that's like supposed to quiet noisy lifters and stuff, and see if that works. We'll put it on a decibel meter. Let's see what happens, but there you go. I know it needs a cover. I took the engine cover off and I never put it back on, so I didn't bother with it. But you can hear a little valve tick. But see, I've replaced all of these, the mass airflow sensor, the cam position sensors, all this stuff is all brand new in here. So, but hey, 212,000 miles sounds pretty good. Alright guys, that's it. I'm not going to bore you anymore. Anyway, thank you again for viewing, for taking the time to watch the video. I hope that this helps out some of you guys that are having the same problem, and maybe with yours it will be the control unit. On mine, unfortunately, it wasn't. But at least now you know where it is and how to get it out. Alright, this is Kevin from What's Kevin Doing, signing off. Like and subscribe. See ya. Bye.